Okay, we are back. So, context on everything that has happened that I know of. Not story-wise, just like with me, and only me. I haven't played Octopath in months. Like, actual months. Every, 30 to 40 minute video that was here was, at least 2 hours of VOD. And so there was a lot of empty space taken up. So please, if you are in the wondrous audience here, entertain me. Tressa, where she meets an actual person or a person that she hadn't met before, and it's like another merchant boil, and those two have a fun little rivalry. That's not romantic at all in any way. Don't ship them. That's not for anyone. You can't ship she's 15. Elfin story, just like the fall, he battles a snake, and unlike the fall, he wins. He ends up trying to save a murderer. He doesn't know he's a murderer at first, so he just goes around saving him. And there's another apothecary that's like, nah, don't save this man. He needs to die. And bro Elfin's like, bro, what you mean? You trying to play God over this person? And then philosophy ensues. I don't think it's Northreach. That's where Ogun's dead fiance is. Or dead wife? Dead ex-wife? If your wife is dead, is it an ex-wife? I guess technically, yes? That's a weird, Why have I never thought of this? Is it because it seems like a very rude question to ask? It is a very rude question to ask, but it is a question of the seeking of knowledge nonetheless. I'm gonna say yes. Ophelia. She is actually the daughter of, the Pope. Kinda. Ophelia's kind of adopted, but it doesn't matter because they all love each other. On it. She's on the case. We're stronger than the forest itself. Our dad is petrified. Not in fear, but literally petrified. He is stone. Primrose is a dancer. She murders her essentially her pimp? I don't know what else to call it. It's her dancing pimp. Yeah, it's that. And she does that after seeing her, her trusted colleague also get murdered, which was, really dark opening for Prim. That's Prim! She murdered 3 people. That's her story. Ulbrich is an old war vet, and he's kind of trying to search for purpose. He's depressed. Therion, my boy Therion. Where are these Dragonstones, you may ask? I got a hint for one of them, but the other 2, anyone's guess, but you're a master thief, go figure it out. And Therion's looking at his arm, and he's like, fine. The other guy kind of betrayed Therion and pushed Therion off a cliff. Therion survives said cliff falling. He's a master at falling from cliffs and surviving. And then we go, Dragonstones, where the frick do I put all my Dragonstones? We go back to Boulderfall, and we went up to Cordelia. We give her all of these things, and then I made a little soliloquy at the end of my last video with Therion, discussing the emotional turmoil of his relationship with Cordelia. It's been 40 minutes into the stream, and I have not played the game yet. This is wonderful. Great content creation, Brian. You'll do great at this, they said, Brian. And once you enter, you cannot exit. And now this is what I was looking forward to, and this is why I wanted to do this on stream. From the Diary of Graham Crossford, part the 1st. So Graham Crossford, for those of you who do not know, well, I'm sure you'll begin to find out, actually. Grave tidings reached me as I was passing through Victor's Hollow in my travels. My beloved's condition had worsened. I knew my journey must be brought to a swift conclusion lest it be too late in the end. I made up my mind to sail across the verdant deep. The final ingredient I require was the pinion of an ogre eagle, one of the things that we had found in the west side of the Clifflands. That most fearsome beast of the sky. They are said to make their home in the forest of Aruba, beyond that vast emerald sea. When I arrived at the harbor, there was only one ship to be found. It was a grand one, no mistaking that. But the captain was none other than Leon Bastral. from Tressa's storyline. I recognized him at once, of course. Who could travel these lands without hearing a tale or 10 of that dread pirate captain, the very mention of whose name would set even the bravest sailor's heart pounding and palms sweating, knees heavy, arms spaghetti, Yet I found the man himself to be quite different from the one that's spoken of in legend. Captain Leon Bastral stood at the helm of a merchant trader, which was preparing to hoist sail at the very moment I came upon it. I told him of my haste and implored that he let me aboard. "I'm afraid I don't just let anyone aboard my ship," he told me, and I felt as though I were being put into some kind of test. It was clear this was a man who did not easily place his trust in others. My coin purse and impoverished as my hopes. Dang. I held out the only thing of value I could offer. My journal. "This is the most valuable of my possessions," I explained. "Within it, you will find a record of every region of this vast continent, every town I have visited, every path I have tread. Surely such knowledge is worth the trouble of having one more body aboard your ship for this voyage." After all, what need had I of such a log then? My journey was nearly over. All that remained was to obtain the final ingredient and hasten home to my beloved's side. Captain Leon gave me a boisterous laugh and gestured me upon his ship with a grin. "You have me believe the leaves of that old book are more valuable than the leaves in my coffers? You must have had quite a journey. I wouldn't mind hearing about it, as you swab my decks." As the ship tossed about the stormy sea, my thoughts drifted ahead of the winds to where my wife awaited me. I could see her face in my mind so clearly that it felt as if, though only minutes ago that we parted, not countless moons. I prayed that the flame would guide me back to her while that gentle smile still graced her lips. "It's almost finished at last, my love. Pray wait for me just a little longer." I know not what has become of my journal since I parted ways with Captain Leon. But looking back, I am relieved that it left my hands when it did. Surely it is better that my final entry ended with some traces of hope, rather than the bitter pain I would eventually find at journey's end. So we slowly but surely get glimpses of everything from very important characters about, maybe these stories are connected to the Gate of Finis as it is. The gate being something that the dreadful Lady Woolback, from one of the side quests that I believe I showed in one of my videos, kind of summoned. And so, we continue down the line. I didn't change my audio. Dang it. I cannot flee from the battlefield, so... I know not what you are weak to. Oppression! Oh no, I'm being oppressed!
Help! Help! I'm being repressed!
Goodness. Woo! Look at that zero. That delicious zero. Absolutely, it's like a pizza. It's so freaking delicious. Who needs a donation? Me. Can I collect money? I can collect money from a shadow of his former self. That's funny. Let's get another one read. From the records of Lord Werner of Riverford. So this is from Ulbricht, the very end of Ulbricht's story. He dethroned Lord Werner of Riverford with the tyranny that he had established there. So this is from his records. Hornburg will fall, which means this is before it fell, because it's fallen in the present time when I'm doing this game. I still remember her smile as she said those words. She? Who's he talking about? It was a score of years ago now, mayhaps more. I love the word mayhaps. I was just discussing it with some friends earlier today. I say that word often. I love it. Mayhaps more. A simple sellsword I was then, when she came to me with a sack full of leaves and a dark promise in her eyes. I think he's talking about Lady Woolback. Or Woolblick, whatever her name was. She knew as well as I did that I had far greater aspirations than selling my sword for coin. But coin would have to be the start. And what a start she offered me. Not only the leaves to free me from another man's employ, but as much as I asked for to invest in my plot and establish the connections I would need. The life I'd always dreamed of was finally in my grasp. I could use her. Let me get my intonation down a little better. I could use her. I could use her to get all that I'd ever wanted. Or so I thought. And so I took the girl upon her offer and began my plot to bring down an entire kingdom. I would need men if I were to accomplish anything, so I created my own sellsword company. The Black Brotherhood, I called them. I spent 3 years doing nothing but gathering information on Hornburg. Then, using what I had learned, I began to systematically remove any obstacles that might stand in my path. I used the girl's connections to make my company of sellswords very much in demand in Hornburg. I took the worst of the lot, those with no scruples and nowhere else to go, and made them out to be bandits and thieves. I set these villains to attacking the borders of Hornburg, and then my Black Brotherhood would turn them back. It was quite the performance. Other armies didn't stand a chance at beating us to the site of each battle. The skirmishes all took place far from the heart of Hornburg. We knew ahead of time exactly where they would happen, since the foes we faced in those battles were in fact our own men. It was an easy feat to give the appearance of a crushing defeat. Through this farce, the Black Brotherhood won the hearts of the people living in these borderlands. Ingraining myself with the families of those borderlands, I used their introductions to buy trust among many powerful houses of Hornburg. The tales of the Black Brotherhood had spread throughout the realm by then, and I used that woman's money freely to strengthen my ties to powerful men within Hornburg and without. Still, King Alfred was well beloved by his people and his bannermen. It would be no small feat to win their hearts away from him, in which case things would become much easier if he were simply not in the picture. Hornburg would not last long without the people's love for their liege binding them together. And so my eyes landed upon Erhard. That is the man who was my brother-in-arms, Ulbricht's brother-in-arms, as they were serving the king. And so my eyes landed upon Erhard, who had a bitter hatred of the king within him. I had him appointed as a member of the king's own guard so that he would be in the perfect position to do the deed. All that remained to be done was to give Erhard the chance that he was all too eager to seize. Mixing lies and truths, I lit a fire among the strong young warrior I befriended. I could spout any lie and it would not have mattered. Humans care little for facts. They believe what they want to believe. In the end, it took me just 12 short years to bring Hornburg to ruin. And after the kingdom fell, I decided the time had come to settle my accounts with that woman. I disbanded my company, having no more need for sellswords, and used the riches I had accumulated to buy myself the lands and status that would see me through my remaining days. To tell the honest truth, this was not easy. I could have gained even more had I remained at that woman's side. She could provide me with wealth and power beyond any human's wildest dreams. But to pursue this any further would be madness. Perhaps I was already mad to serve so long at her beck and call to bring down a kingdom. She was beautiful. There can be no doubt of that. But did I deserve her even for a moment? No. For within that attractive trapping was evil. Pure evil. Intent on bringing humanity to ruin. If a man dared touch any part of it, his own flesh would rot and fall away. She was a lethal poison. She was a witch. And so I cut myself off from her entirely and did not look back. Funny though, is it not? In the end, I could not escape her. She brought about my ruin as surely as she had indulged her poisonous touch. For in the end, just as I felled Hornburg, it was Hornburg's last knight who laid me low. That being Ulbrich. Anyway, we continue onward, fighting all of the bosses that give us lots of juicy lore. Lots of lore, so much lore. Oh my gosh, look at all the lore. Ah! We get to see it again. Oh gosh, that's bright. That's a lot of fire. This game's fun. I like this game. Everyone silenced. Except me. I have power that exists outside the game. How does it feel, Olbrich? I kept my faith. I stayed true to my convictions until the end. Several years before my death, a shadow fell upon my dear noble court. A shadow known as the Obsidians. They brought with them sweet words and false promises, but I would not lend them my ear. Once they came to understand that I would not be swayed to their way of thinking, they came after my life time and time again. I would not allow myself to be daunted. I dug deeper into the truth to uncover their intentions, their ties, and the mastermind behind their villainy, and my search eventually led me to learn of the Gate of Finis. In the end, I was murdered by the men who caught wind of my discoveries, yet I do not regret my actions. I lived true to the words of my house and did all that I could for the sake of my people. My sole regret is that I have left Primrose alone to pick up the pieces of this broken life I left behind. My precious daughter should not have to bear such a burden on her shoulders. Primrose, you stood before my grave and told me, did you not, that you had lived true to what I had taught you. You are strong, my daughter. You found your own cause and purpose, and the purpose you found was the continuation of my very own. You carried on in my footsteps and finished what I started. My dear Primrose, when I think of how much you must have suffered all alone, all I can do is beg you to forgive me. Now the time has come for you to lay down your burden and rest. So lay down your burdens. It is time for you to forget about me and find happiness. Happiness your own this time. For I will always be with you. Jeffrey Azelhart. All hope was lost. My beloved was gone forever. I had finally finished the elixir, but it was too late. Mere days too late. My one true love had drawn her last breath just as I was racing back to her side, medicine in hand and heart filled with renewed hope. For 3 days and 3 nights, I lost myself in tears. A river of tears too deep and raging for me to ford my way across it. It was after the funeral that the woman found me, Lilac. She called herself. In the depths of my anguish, my life bereft of all meaning, she asked me a simple question, terrible in its implications. Wouldn't you like to see your beloved once more? That insidious offer, a mere whisper in the wind, took hold of me. Try as I might, I could not close my ears to it. If it would mean seeing my love even once more, then I'd give my very life without regret. Lilac spoke of the Gate of Finis, which separates this world from the next. If I could find it and cast it open, I could bring my beloved back to my side. I had heard the legends before, of course, but for the first time I found myself desperate to believe them. Begging the help of one of Kit's companions, the person who led us here, I set out to the southeast. It was a fool's journey, but what else remained to me but a fool's hope? On my way, I passed through the village of Clearbrook. There, I came across a young boy stricken with illness and lingering just outside death's door. That's Alvin. Convulsions unracked his small frame, and his skin was mottled with a purplish pox. I recognized the symptoms at once. How could I not? It was the same foul malady that stole my beloved from me. I felt the touch of fate in this meeting. Though I had not been in time to save my true love, I still carried the elixir I had labored so long to create. A remedy that could do nothing for her now. There was no doubt in my mind what I must do, and so I treated the boy with my medicine. When I looked at the boy's face, finally at peace in all calm repose, I saw my beloved again. And her gentle eyes, I found forgiveness. I hope I can do that too someday. Such were the boy's words to me when he was strong enough to speak again. He told me he wished to follow in my footsteps and become a great apothecary. His words were a reward I never expected. In that moment, I felt as though my journey was perhaps not a fool's one after all. I left what remained of the elixir and the rest of my medicines behind with the body of the boy. And I set out once more, turning my feet again to the gate of Finis. Little did I know that I was making the greatest mistake of my life. Paul! Paul, I require your assistance! Gosh darn it, Paul, you're weak! Yeah, that's pretty competent. I'd say he's the most competent boy. They're good people. Most of them. Except Prim. She's struggling a bit. She murdered 3 people. In, like, cold blood. Like, premeditated murder. Like, revenge murder. Like, she's... Anyway. This one won't kill. 40,000! From the time of my first memories, I recall my father lecturing me on the origins of our house, on what it meant to be head of House Revus, and on what it was I must give my life to protect. My father had heard the same from his father, and his father from his father before him. The House of Revus is blessed with many treasures, and many who covet them. To one born in the House of Revus, such things are natural and given as the blue of the sky above us. We are blessed with great treasures, and it is our duty to protect those treasures from those who would see ill use for them. Use them for same thing. And among all the treasures, there were none greater than the Dragonstones. The Dragonstones were bestowed upon the first Lord Revus by a legendary King Beowulf the First of Hornburg, and they have been passed down our family ever since. The stones are said to have come from a land far to the east, and they are worth far more than their weight in gold. But that is not where their true value lies. A power sleeps within them, and it makes them valuable beyond mortal comprehension. For the name Dragonstone is no simple fancy. The stones house the power of the great worms whose name they bear. It is said that the great sorcerer Odin Crossford used the power of the Dragonstones to seal shut the gate of Finis. Crossford had campaigned together with King Beowulf and aided him in the founding of Hornburg. My father, when he was still with us, once told me this. Power itself is neither good nor evil. It is the man who wields the blade who decides whether he fights for good or evil. That is why King Beowulf entrusted the stones to the man he trusted above all others, the loyal knight who would become the first lord of House Revus. Great power can bring about boundless good, or unfathomable power, or unfathomable evil. It is the duty of our house to keep the Dragonstones safe, and to protect them from those who would wield them for dark ends. Yet given enough time, great power will always awaken a hunger in others who would claim it for themselves. Once the Dragonstones came to House Revus, there was no end to those who lusted after them, not to mention our many other riches. Even kith and kin cannot be trusted to stand against such temptation. Once a rumor reached my ears that suspicious parties were inquiring into the whereabouts of the stones at the behest of my own relatives. It may be that those who sabotaged the carriage my wife and I were riding in did so at the bidding of my own blood. Who's writing this? Is this Cordelia's? This isn't Cordelia. This is Cordelia's father. Yo, my poor Cordelia. Yep, there it is. I thought this was Cordelia writing this. Oh, my poor Cordelia. What is to become of you? You are too gentle to ever doubt another. I fear that many will draw near you, cloaked in the guise of kindness, and seek to deceive you. Cordelia, I can protect you no longer. No matter how I try to call out, my voice cannot reach you on the other side. Yet this I hope you know. Though a time may come when you are betrayed by one you trust, I believe your heart will not falter. You will not lose your faith in people, and this is for the best. For there are those truly worthy of your unwavering trust, and you will find them and keep them close at your side. I held on to such faith, and was rewarded with a loyal companion with 1,000 other men. Heathcote has been true to me. That's the butler. Heathcote has been true to me in all these things. Surely such a friend will also appear before you, one worthy of your faith. And so I beg you, Cordelia, never stop believing in others, for it is this faith that will save you in the end. Paul! Are you weak to lightning, dragon? Dang it. I was really hoping that would actually be, smart. Bye on it! Woo! Look at that 5 damage, bro. Dragon. I'm getting breathed on. Who would win, this dragon or 10 woolly mammoths with ice breath? More lore, more lore. Reading voice Brian activated. From the Diary of Graham Crossford, Part the 3rd. How could I have been so wrong? All I thought of was bringing my beloved back into the world of the living. When Liebleck told me such a thing could be done, I was all too willing to swallow her pretty words. The moment that I arrived before the gate, I felt a finger of ice run along my spine. Even if my mind had been too slow to recognize it, my very body was repelled by that gate. Or more precisely, what lay beyond it. While I struggled to catch my breath, Liebleck sketched out a magic circle on the ground and with practiced ease. As she traced each twisted line and rune, her hand never faltered. How many times must she have prepared for this moment in her heart of hearts? It was at that moment that I realized just how she had longed for this moment, how fiercely she desired to see the dark ritual to completion. Only by this ritual may the gate be opened. It will not be pleasant for you, but you must bear it if you wish to see your beloved once more. So Liebleck spoke as she led me to the center of the magic circle. As she began the ritual, the first thing I felt was a great pain that struck my entire body at once. It was followed by a strange sensation like nothing I'd ever really experienced. I felt myself stretching and swelling from the inside out. From the corner of my eye, I saw my own hand changing into something foreign and awful, and then the fear. Liebleck watched my transformation with a glow in her eye. It was then I knew this ritual was not intended to open the gate and bring my wife back to me. Yes, I know what truly lies beyond the gate of Finis. That horror is what Liebleck sought to bring back to our world, and I was to be the vessel. I would be lying if I said I had no idea this was coming. My conversations with Liebleck had led me to suspect that this ritual would not work just for anyone. For just anyone. It seemed that she needed my blood. The blood of House Crossford, descended from an ancient line of sorcerers. That is why I must be the one to prevent her plan from succeeding, for if I fail, she will only turn her sights upon my dear Kit. So Kit, oh, this is Kit's dad. Interesting. We had met Kit in order to get to this quest. No, that I cannot allow. So while I realized before the end what Liebleck intended, I continued to accompany her in her aims so that I could see the truth of the ritual for myself and foil it however I could. Little did I know that I was dealing with a power far, far beyond any mortal's control or conception. I felt my own sense of self growing faint and distant, and something else entirely filling me. I resisted it with all that I had, but that presence, to that thing, a being like myself, a fragile human spirit, could be crushed as easily as an insect beneath your heel. And just then, just before my mind was completely consumed by the darkness, I saw the smiling faces of my wife and son one last time. I screamed. The memory of my wife gave me the power to resist that last critical moment. I imagine Liebleck herself did not think I would ever strike back at her, but I had already grown far stronger than I had been as a man. Even when I only managed to land a single blow to cut her, it cut her deep. She staggered back and the ritual was interrupted. This is my chance. All I need to do is chase after her as she flies and cuts her evil at the root, bringing everything to an end. That is why I must do. But Why am I? Where am I going? Why am I? I am turning into something else, something less human, And so I wander the land without aim. There are periods of time I cannot remember. I come back to myself, surrounded by destruction, no memories, but I know that it was me. Those blackouts grow more frequent. They come from me now. No, stay your hand. I am no monster. I am a man. I am a man. I am a man. The final monster that we faced, named Red Eye, at the end of Onit's journey was an evil so tainted to comprehend, something so much not of this world. It was surely Graham Crossford himself, the amalgamative form that we found him in, and we laid him to rest. That... Oh no, he got help! Couldn't be me. From the Diary of Matthias, Prophet of the Accursed Flame. This is the prophet that we took down as Ophelia. Once, I too believed in the teaching of the sacred flame. I led the people in its light as a servant of the church. No one could have doubted that I was anything but a pious believer in those days. And when I look back upon it now, it seems so painfully foolish. When was it that I first began to doubt the flame? Perhaps it was after I met Lilac. But no, that was but the catalyst to what was already growing within me. Even before Lilac appeared, those feelings had taken root in my heart. The small village whose church I had been appointed to was destroyed in a conflagration. It burned. That's what the word means. I don't know how it's pronounced, but that's what it means. Started by a capricious strike of lightning. The flames spread before we even knew what was happening. Before we knew it, we were engulfed in hell's fire. Countless were lost to the flames, even the innocent young children who I'd loved so dearly. They had committed no sins. They did not deserve to have their flesh seared and their bones turned to ash. So I prayed to the flame, and I prayed that their lives would be spared. Fool that I was. Even after they were dead and gone, I believed that if I prayed hard enough, they might return to us, that a miracle might occur. And so I offered up every scrap of faith that I had until at long last I realized the truth. Believing in the sacred flame and praying to it would not bring about a miracle. And if my faith could not bring me and those I loved succor in our times of greatest need, then it was worthless. It did not matter to me if the power I needed was forbidden. I would use that power for the force of good and bring about miracles. That was the true faith to which my eyes were finally opened. It was not something I had been tricked into by another. I had reached enlightenment. It was only fitting that such a revelation came to me, the one true savior. While Lilac may not have been responsible for my enlightenment, I am still grateful to her. After all, she is the one who granted me the blessing of 100 years free from aging. The dark secrets written in that tome can allow a man to cheat death, and I owe her a debt for sharing them with me. I gained eternal life, or close enough, as a true savior should. I then took it upon myself as my duty to save as many people as I could with the power granted to me. And so I set out to kindle a darker flame in our realm. If our sacred flame could be weakened, yet more of Galdera's accursed power would seep through the gate to Finis, and I would be able to claim even greater strength for myself. I hid myself away from those in the church who wished to stop me, but the long march of time was my ally. It wore away the lives and memories of any and all who once knew me, until it was as if my face had been washed away like words written in sand. None who still live would remember me as an apostate to the church. With enough leaves, all things are possible. Even obtaining a new name is little challenge. And so I worked my way back to the church's graces as the traitor Matthias. Even the venerable Archbishop Joseph did not suspect me for a moment. Every step of the way, fate has shown me that I am in the right. I was able to uncover Galdera's altar because I am right. I was able to use a fragment of Galdera's power to bring about a miracle because I am right. I would become the savior of Whispermill and command its people to do my wishes because I am right. With Simeon as an ally, I never wanted for money, nor power. The Obsidians served me well, whether they knew it or not. Simeon claimed never to have spoken to me to the others. I know not if he meant to use me as a secret weapon against the others, if the need ever arose, or if it was simply that he did not trust me. But it hardly mattered. After laboring for so many decades, the time had come at last. I had succeeded in debilitating Archibus Sapiosif with the poison the Obsidians had provided with me. It was a beautiful poison. No one would ever suspect it was anything but a natural death. So he poisoned Ophelia and Liana's father. And no one knew this until just now. You're making a painting. Interesting. Of what, I dare ask. Is it all of the characters together? Because that's the only right answer. Or at least that's the answer in my mind. It was a beautiful poison, none that ever suspected anything but a natural death. All that remained for me to do was to cast a dark shadow on the heart of Liana. The next flame bearer and the sacred flame would soon burn black. That is what was meant to be. That is what was about to be. But no! Damn it all to the farthest reaches of hell. The culminations of all I had worked for was mere inches away. So close! I could feel the kiss of the accursed flame, and instead, it was all snatched away. That fire snuffed out to leave me in utter darkness and despair. I am the savior. I was meant to bring Galdera's flame to the world. Why should I be left in this black hell? It was dark here. The blackness. It is all-consuming, darker than 1,000 starless nights. Please, someone, anyone, bring me some light. Wait, if you're weak to dagger, you just defend, and then boop you. Get booped. You just got booped. This is gonna be, he has the corrosive on, so I'm looking at 28k? 28k. I'm so good at this game! He's losing control of his body. Stop it, Maurice! Maurice was in the bar the other night and he was raving!
He was in here tonight, raving. Whoa, slow down, Maurice.
Like a peacock! We dance like a peacock. And it increases our magic buff. I don't know, the spirit is enlightened or something from seeing a woman dance like a peacock. Beats me. Even though that's a male thing to do, now that I think about it, the peacock feathers is to attract females. Huh. Alright. The last bit of lore. And then the final boss. If you have friends, tell your friends that we're about to finish Octopath Traveler. From the Diary of Headmaster Yvonne at the Royal Academy. This was Cyrus's professor. This is the one who went berserk and was the one who was led astray by his teaching assistant, who was much more powerful than he was. It was 15 years ago when I learned of that tome. That being from the far reaches of hell, the tome that allows for necromancy, and likely a tome that Liebleck, if all is going according to Liebleck's plan, it was given by her. The headmaster's chair was but a dream to me in those days when my prize student Lucia brought a young woman to me. The woman told me that I was the best suited for the position of headmaster, that there was no knowledge, no position that should be off limits to a man of my ability. He was gaslit by Liebleck, that's the woman, in assistance to Lucia, who is also a very, very old, not looking, but like she's been around a bit, girl who's been in search of the immortality knowledge. And so she taught me many things, one being the existence of ancient tomes containing the long-forgotten secrets of old. There are several volumes of forbidden writings in Atlastam's great libraries, and no eyes but the headmasters are allowed to look upon them. The tome in question is one of these. It is the last extant tract of the legendary sage known as the Salomon, whose name lives on in history through the land of his birth. The kingdom of Bernstein has long since been forgotten. Long has it been said that he who can decipher its true meaning will obtain power over even life and death. The current headmaster is not worthy of such knowledge. What he lacks in intellect only pales in what he lacks in character. I cannot depend on him. I would depend on you. She wished to decipher the secrets of the tome and share its knowledge with the majority alone. Where did I get the majority? With the worthy alone. Thus, a great scholar was needed, one who could be able to fully understand the arcane truths within the tome. The doddering fool who now serves as the doddering fool. I'm the doddering fool now. The doddering fool who now serves as headmaster can never do such a thing. But a genius such as you, Ivan, surely you, of all scholars in the realm, are up to the task. Yes, that is how she persuaded me. It was true that I bore the resemblance to the former headmaster, who was interested in nothing but his studies. A little resemblance, very little, almost none, you could say, and whose only praiseworthy trait was his tenacity in that single-minded pursuit. But I was different. I knew that knowledge was worth its weight in gold, and more critically, my intellect far outstripped his. How could the idiots around me fail to realize this? This woman told me that the then headmaster holding a lofty office he had done so This woman told me that the then headmaster holding a lofty office he had done so little to deserve was tantamount to sin, and I agreed. When she asked me if I could remove him, I assured her that it would be the simplest of tasks. And so, I had him assassinated just as she wished, leaving not a trace of evidence behind to incriminate myself. Shortly after, I ascended to the headmaster's seat in his place. I encountered the strange woman only once more after that day. When I reported to her that I had murdered the former headmaster, she flashed a chilling smile and simply replied, "So you did." Then she walked away, never again to appear before me. Perhaps removing that man was all she wanted of me after all, I thought. It was no matter. The tome was in my grasp, and I immediately set myself to uncovering its secrets. All the rumors I had heard were true. It was a work of staggering genius. With Lucia as my assistant, I was able to obtain other rare and ancient texts from that woman, even if I never saw her again. Yes, everything was going just as I had planned, and power beyond the imagination was finally within my reach. How did it come to all of this, then? Damn that accursed Lucia. Damn that heartless, conniving witch. How did I not see? She meant to use me from the very start. I was the one who unlocked the secrets. I who constructed the basic theories of how to effectively control life and death. And as soon as I had done that, she had no more need for me. That was why she gave me a flawed blood crystal and led Cyrus right to me, so that she could dispose of me without dirtying her own hands. You despicable, loathsome, hateful woman. Death has not cooled my fury, but only fueled it to greater heights. Curse you. Curse you and that unholy witch you brought to my side. May the deceitful Lucia burn for all eternity. May the foul witch Lilac be banished beyond the farthest reaches of hell. A pleasant man. I stand upon the pedestal, open the gate myself. As a group of members bonded by, honestly, over a year of friendship, which is how long I've been playing this game, I have walked up to the finalists of final bosses, and I want to take a bite of this chip, but I keep talking over my hands. Delicious. We walk upon a staircase. Form two parties for the final confrontation. Okay, this is Lilac. Ada. Quite the stubborn ones, aren't we? Where's Kit? That's the question on your lips, isn't it? Why, he's right here, standing before our eyes.
So you
The 13th god, Galdera the Fallen. He and Kit are one and the same. The Gate of Finis was created to seal Galdera beyond the boundaries of this world. And the Crossford family, you see, comes from a long and ancient line that carries the stuff of the dark god. That seems like an oddly colloquialism in here. Ancient line that carries the stuff of the dark god in their veins. Many years ago, I led Graham Kit's father to this same place. I told him that by coming here, he could return his beloved to the land of the living. A lie, of course, but one he was all too willing to believe. All was proceeded according to plan. But in the end, I underestimated the strength of the man's spirit. The ritual failed and Graham escaped somewhere, though he hardly resembled himself anymore. This time, though, will be different. This time, I will not fail. At long last, Galdera shall rise again and the world will know its fury. You, too, have an important role to play in this historic day. Your flesh, your blood, your very soul will feed the dark god and give him strength. That's... Father, can you hear me? Father, your daughter calls for you. That's creepy, and I don't feel like voicing that. Oh, Father, please show mercy on this poor, wretched souls. Poor, unfortunate souls in pain, in need. I hear you, my daughter. I'm not voicing that. Bad noises. Bad noises. They're... My daughter, for fulfilling your fate, I bestow upon you eternal slumber. Bye! You go Betty bye now and disappear into the void. Brave souls, you too have earned the same reward. Or will you face it like a man? So come, let us continue all life on this world. Let us continue the consume the gods themselves. For now in eternity, there is only us. There is only Galdera. Well then. Well then. Let's Oh, so it's immune to all damage and all striking. What the frick? That is way too much damage for my party to handle right now. Holy dude. I might lose this fight. Who knows? Oh, hi! People are almost dead. And I just want to make sure I'm staying on top of things here. Let's get that healing off. That was a good call. That was a good call, Brian. Good call. Okay. Raging Soul's abilities will be performed more than once. Oh, you just used the Ophelia ult on your little minion. Oh, joy. Might be good enough. Woo! They missed! With an accuracy up, too. Dang. Yeah, thank goodness for that miss. Oh my gosh. Oh, dang it, that was really good timing on that ability. Because that kills. Okay. Okay. So, that sucks. This is gonna kill another character. Or... Revive! Yikes! Zoinks! Please. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh, the eye is unprotected. Well, there's phase 1, everybody! Phase 1 of the first half of the battle! We have to assume that you guys are weak to holy. You're not weak to holy, oh my gosh. Because I want you to feel so much pain with this. 24,000. Come on. Let's do this. Come on. Alright, that should save me from the nothing I was becoming. Don't let me down, brother. This. And it's gone. Alright. We finally have a turn against the eye. Oh my goodness. What are you weak to? You have 500,000 HP, and this is what you are weak to. Okay. It's broken. Oh my gosh. 31k. Oh, it's almost 10%. Another 6k there. Let's do it, baby. Not enough. Finis. I know it's only 9,000. I know you don't have overcharge. I should have done the spear that time, actually. Should have thought about it. This is lovely. Soul of the Dead. That 500,000 HP has to be total between both of my fights. Because it's still changing. But this is the first time I've seen it like this. Alright, so no, they have weaknesses. But none of them are the weaknesses I need them to have. Now I'm just like, man, I just gotta win. I just gotta win. I can't afford to lose. I have too much invested into this exact battle. Everyone die, please. Finis. Yeah, I got one of them gone. Oh my gosh, that is way too much damage. Oh, come on. Okay, I'll take it. Frick, I won't take it. I won't take it. I didn't want that. Dang it, why does Prim have to go here? Whatever. I need you to heal as much as possible. All my reflex except for the ones on it are gone. Are you kidding me, dude? That soul will come back after another empty turn every time, so long as there's one of the three still alive. That just insta-kills me. And I know it insta-kills me because it's the exact of my max HP. And I don't have mana. I might lose it right here from that misplay. Well, that probably saved me a crap ton of time, honestly. Maybe I should have just done Rune Lord.